Good morning, everyone. Call to order a meeting of the Kent County Board of Commissioners, and we will start with our roll call. Madam Clerk.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair Green.
Here.
Commissioners Antor.
Here.
Merchant. Here. DeBoer. Here. Hildenbrand. Here. Ponstein.
Here.
Burrell.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Breeby. Here. Teal. Here. Sparks. McLeod. Here. Hennessy. Here. Oliver King. LeGrand. Here. Baker.
Here.
Wooden.
Here.
Pakla.
Here.
Diaz. Bujak.
Present.
Chair Steck.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 18 members present, 3 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'm now calling on Commissioner McLeod for the invocation. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So today I've adapted an invocation that was provided at a city council meeting, not here, but somewhere in the universe. And so I thought that it was perfect for today, so please bow your heads with me. Oh God, we come before you with gratitude. We thank you for being a God of love who is with us now, this very room. You never leave or forsake us. Your grace has brought us safe this far, and your grace will lead us home. We thank you for making each of us in this room, every person we meet, every citizen of this county and every city in your own image with dignity and infinite worth. We thank you for calling you has given us glory to each and one of us stewards of your creation, loving our neighbors as ourselves. I thank you this morning for these your servants, our board chair, our county administrator, our county staff, and our county commission members. I give you thanks for the way of service they have chosen to take up on behalf of all of us here. We all come to this room this morning, as complex human beings carrying burdens, carrying joy and hope, trusting that you alone can hold us together in your love and peace. Help us trust you more than our fears, our wounds, and even our accomplishments. May we lean on your everlasting arms. In your word, you make clear the expectations for those who sit in places of authority. In Psalm 72, we hear the prayer for the king. Endow the king with your justice, O God, the royal son with your righteousness. May he judge your people in righteousness, your afflicted ones with justice. May he defend the afflicted among the people and save the children of the needy. May he crush the oppressor, for the king will deliver the needy who cry out, the afflicted who have no one to help. He will take pity on the weak and the needy and save the needy from death. He will rescue them from oppression and violence, for the precious is their blood in his sight. Through the prophet Jeremiah in chapter 22, you remind us that your blessing came on kings who defended the right of the poor and needy, because isn't that what it means to know me, declares the Lord. We remember the apostle writing to the Christians in Rome and his teachings that those in authority are first and foremost your servants, that honoring you and doing your will is their highest purpose, that any portion of power they enjoy is given to you and can be taken away. And so we pray that you will be glorified today through the decisions of this county commission. We pray that we would have the eyes to see how to live our lives all connected and how our common good is upheld when we listen and respond to those most vulnerable among us. We pray that your kingdom would come in Kent County as it is in heaven through your power, working in each of these your servants. May your truth be revealed. May your light shine brighter. May the voices of those most silenced be heard loud and clear. Defend their cause, O God, through this governing body this morning. We pray for your wisdom, for strength, for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interests of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you again for this county commission, our county administrator, our county staff, our sheriff department, our health department staff, and all those who work to make this place we call home such a wonderful city. In the name of Jesus, whose perfect love sets us free from all fears, amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll now move to our special order of business, and this morning we have a number of folks from the Ford International Airport, and I will call on Mr. Dan Korndike, known to most of us, former chair of this board, now chair of the Airport Authority Board. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dan Korndike, and I'm the current chair of the Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority Board. We're here today to make a presentation and let you know how great things are going at our airport today. Up on the wall, you see a picture of the legislation that changed our airport from a department of the county to an autonomous authority. And this has allowed us to be nimble, react to market forces, and most importantly, it's allowed us to hire top-notch staff. And that's who is going to be presenting to you today. So today we have with us Maria Kim, our CFO, Matt Zielstra, our comptroller, and to make the big presentation is Tori Richardson, our president and CEO that we hired in September of 2019. Things are going really great. I'd like to do a special shout out to Dan Burrell, Emily Breve, who also serve on the authority board. With that, Tori, you have 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Morning, Tori.
Thank you, Dan, and good morning, everyone. As Dan mentioned, we're very pleased to have, let me make sure that this is working. Very pleased to have good representation on our board. So thank you for each of our appointments that serve on our board. They all come with different experiences and passion and share that and have a common goal of doing what's right for the customer, the guest, and advancing the airport authority. Just some quick facts for those that aren't as familiar with the airport authority. 3,200 acres. Of course, it's Kent County land operated by the Airport Authority. We were the fastest growing in the state of Michigan prior to the pandemic, fastest recovering through the pandemic, and pleased to share back into full growth mode with a record-setting year in 2023 with just about 3.8 million passengers through our facility. Really, we say that we are the place and the space for others to do business. So there's over 100 different businesses supporting about 2,000 jobs on the airport. That's close to 40,000 jobs in the community. You can see on the slide here, $3.2 billion of economic impact. Later this month, we'll be sharing with our board an update that probably doubles that. These are some of the names and logos that you see on the screen that are represented out at the airport. So again, lots of different businesses doing lots of different types of work. In terms of the service that we provide, we know from our catchment area here that we're getting all of West Michigan, even as far as Traverse City and far south as South Bend. So very large area for our travelers that are coming to West Michigan to catch their flights. From a route map perspective, very happy with a nice full map. May is a little bit down month for us. We just finished spring break, which was the peak. That's our busiest time of the year, where we had over 30 nonstop destinations and, of course, connecting worldwide through multiple locations. But you can see here in May, 29 destinations on 6 carriers. Our 7th carrier, Sun Country, starts in June. So we'll see that route map expand and then get more flights on it. From a market share perspective, doing very well. Nice diverse portfolio for the airlines, which means there's healthy competition for our consumers. You can see Delta's the largest at 27%, then Allegiant, American, United, Southwest, and Frontier. We're always looking at what does that mean for the customer. So having a nice diverse portfolio also means, like I said, healthy competition. We do take a look at our surroundings. Grand Rapids, you can see in the gold bar there for our community. Airfare is exactly the same as what the national average is. So at $379, we like to see that number at the national average or even up to about $40 higher. That means that the airfares are competitive and that the airlines are healthy and making a profit in our market. So very nice to see that we've got healthy competition. Our board always tells us they want us innovative, award-winning, and fun. Here's just a slide showing some of the significant accomplishments and some of the leadership team accepting those awards, whether it be in marketing, advertising, financial reporting, construction projects, things that are helping to elevate the guest experience, Reader's Choice, Best Airport. So lots of things that we work on, which is really a validation of the team and the work that we're doing. So it's not necessarily winning the award for the award, but it's what we achieved or accomplished that got us to that point. Here's a quick slide just talking a little bit about our Ford Launchpad for Innovative Technologies and Entrepreneurship. We had an opportunity to share that at the South by Southwest conference about a month ago, which is really promoting this flight program. You can see some of our partners here on this slide. It is an opportunity to work with small startup, new businesses or businesses with a new line of business that they want to bring on, test it in a real live environment at the airport so that they can make sure that their product is efficient, deployable, scalable, and something that can be benefiting and used for passenger service or airport efficiency. So through the first 4 rounds, we've had close to 20 different partners testing different things like autonomous wheelchairs, mowing, security drones, things like that. So it's a really great project and program, and we're happy for the partnership and to see that grow. Of course, I couldn't be down here and not talk about Elevate, our program that spans over several years, investing about $600 million in various projects that are going to enhance the guest experience, modernize our facilities, and expand our facilities, not just for the growth that we see today, but growth into the future. So there's a lot to talk about on this slide here. You can see the blue is the existing terminal area. The sort of orange or reddish color, salmon color, are all areas that are being expanded as a part of Elevate. Of course, Concourse A just finished up at the end of this year. We've got one more food and beverage option to get finished in there, and then the lounge to complete next year, and then that Concourse A project is completely done. Looking at our air traffic control tower, we're at 70% design. It's going to be situated over in sort of that northeast quadrant of the airport over by the UPS and FedEx facility. That project's underway, and we'll be doing a heavy push to get that into the construction phase in the next year or so, and that'll take a couple years of construction. Our consolidated rental car facility is now just about a year under construction. You can see here the project is going vertical with lots of cranes out here. We have a scheduled opening date of 2026, so we still have a couple years to go on that project. Last week, we just kicked off our terminal enhancement project, which was really a program for efficiency for the airlines and the TSA for baggage handling and screening and sortation. So that's the primary emphasis of it. But at the same time, we are adding additional curb space out front, additional ticket counter locations, and relocating and consolidating all of our ticketing functions, as well as our baggage claim functions. And you can see that in the diagram here. This is what it looks like behind the scenes. Most people don't realize it is a very manual process today of sorting and inspecting those the bags as they are on their outbound journey. This is the lower level, so there will be a basement to this facility, and that's where all of the explosive detection screening inspections will take place. And in the main level, it'll be the sortation for getting bags out to each of the different airlines and their carousels so they can get them onto the bag carts and put out onto the right airplane. Once phase 1 is complete on the left-hand side, then we'll jump to phase 2. We need all of the airlines relocated out of that phase 2 area. So once phase 1 is done, we'll jump over to phase 2, and that'll really be focused on the baggage claim devices. At the same time, not really necessarily a part of Elevate in terms of one of our major projects, but we're in the process of finishing our new aircraft rescue firefighting station. And we also have a central generator facility that is coming online that will supply redundant power to all of the services in the terminal building. A couple of brand new pieces of equipment here. These are each about $1 million. Next week, we're going to be breaking ground on a facility that will help store all of these vehicles. So with each of these being $1 million, we'll make sure that they are stored, maintained, kept in a nice facility. And that facility expansion, as I said, kicks off next week and will run for another year. And that's what it looks like in the rendering. In terms of the community, our board is always pushing us to be out in the community, be a good partner, be a good steward. So we've got lots of slides here that just really talk about some of the things that we've done that you may have heard about, and some of you were even out at some of these events. So the 60th anniversary late last year, 6,500 people came out for that. Great day out in the sun and looking at airplanes and really learning about all the different jobs and different tenants and operations at the airport. We launched this program to help travelers with hidden disabilities. We're always out on the National Night Out, taking out our fire trucks and our police vehicles and interacting and mixing and mingle with the community. You can see here as well down here for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, bringing our large equipment down. I can't see it behind there, but there is a fire truck that's behind there, always a great hit with the kids and the adults. Passenger Appreciation Day, we just finished up our like I said, our peak season. We like to have a little celebration with our passengers, so live music, some action figures, our animals coming out there, and just having a good time for the passengers flying out that busy week. We also took part of the City of Grand Rapids holiday tree lighting. Of course, we do that with the canopy as well. And then we have our own annual holiday music festival out there, and where we've got lots of different choirs that come through from the various schools and churches and have an opportunity to sing and entertain right there in front of our crowd. Food trucks are always a big hit. We'll be kicking those off in June. They'll run every Wednesday, June through August. You can see in the photo there, lots of people come out for those, have a great time. There's usually 6 to 8 different food trucks, meal and dessert options, so great time and great weather and lots of plane watching. Also, we'll be kicking off our Runway 5K in June. That's always something that we partner with a local charity so that those volunteers and those race funds go to support some local charities. This will be for Special Olympics this year, and it's a great opportunity to get the community out to the airport, running on a taxiway and a runway, and seeing some of our large equipment and airplanes that we have stationed around for the event. And then finally, we're with the Grand Rapids Public Museum on a Roger That. Maria was actually there delivering some keynote remarks, but also just out there celebrating, letting adults and children understand what it would take to get involved in anything aviation, with a career in aviation, and all the different functions and varieties that are available to folks. With that, happy to take any questions or comments that you may have.
All right. Thank you, Tori. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Bujak.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for coming out this morning and sharing with us. Being that the airport's in my district, 21, Southeast Kent County, I'm very pleased by what I've seen the airport doing, and I just want to congratulate you on your rating #1 for an airport its size this year. So, thank you.
We appreciate it, and thanks for coming out and being involved in our board meetings and our activities as well, Commissioner.
All right. Other questions or comments? Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say, great work. You guys are doing an amazing job. The airport looks and feels like a, I don't want to say O'Hare, because we don't want to be O'Hare. But it is wonderful. It's a great feel when we go in there. Very proud. Thank you. Impressive.
We have a great team, thank you. I'll share that with them. We like to strive to be small enough that we're very easy to navigate and understand, but large enough that we can offer those, larger airport amenities as well.
All right. Other questions or comments? Commissioner Hennessy.
You mentioned it, but just to clarify, and to get more information, the air traffic control tower is going to be able to move?
So we're in design mode right now with the FAA. So we were able to get funding to fund a design project, which takes about a year to really go through the process of what does the facility need to be constructed of and its exact location on the airport. So 70% design, we'll finish up with that design later this year, and then we'll be pushing to try to get federal funding because we feel like this should be a federally funded project since it's a federal facility with federal air traffic control tower personnel in it. And that will take us probably the next year to move it into the construction season.
Okay, thank you. So that will still need the federal funding in order to.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not.
Absolutely have. It's one we've been working on for years.
Exactly, Commissioner. We've cleared several hurdles. The next big hurdle is to finish the design, and then the next hurdle is get it into construction with funding to support that. But we continue to make progress on it.
Is there ever any chance that we could get the facilities, that we can do the TSA approvals, the global entry applications, that type of thing? I understand they're closing down Sault Ste. Marie, so there's very limited ability to obtain such things in Michigan.
It is difficult. We do talk with the TSA and CBP, but you're right, they have closed a lot of those facilities down. It is getting more challenging. Lots of times they'll say, try to travel through one of the larger cities to do it while you're traveling to get, your clearance. And for some, depending on the type of clearance that you're talking about, so we don't have direct clear for international passenger processing, but CLEAR is another program that allows you to get through expedited screening. Challenges with that right now are the TSA are making some changes to that might not offer the same advantages, so there might be a diminishing return in terms of people wanting to join that CLEAR program. The nice thing about it, though, when you look at it from our airport, our wait times are always, especially if you're TSA pre-check, they're always less than 5 minutes. And if you're in a standard lane, our goal is 18 minutes or less, and we watch that every single day. And I think there's one time in the last 3 months that we've seen that number get as high as 18 minutes. Most of the time, it's, 10 minutes most.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you, Chair Steck. Tori, you and your staff are absolutely leaders in the business. When we were at a local show or a show out in Long Beach earlier or last year, you have more people coming up to myself, Commissioner Breevy, Chair Korndike, and talking about our staff at the Ford. So we have top-notch people that definitely lead our community. And then to talk a little bit more about the air tower and our economic impact. Our goal is to have a $10 billion economic impact to our community by 2030. Obviously, we're going to have some new reports that's we're probably going to be coming close to doubling what we thought it was. And I'm hoping we'll be able to move that goalpost, maybe even past $10 billion by 2030. So those are great, unique opportunities to West Michigan and the airport. Another reason why the tower is so important to us. Any chance we have to lobby any of our legislators at the federal level, it's very important that we do that because that will help us with that $10 billion goal by 2030 and beyond. So it's a big ask. It's something, we're the oldest tower at 70 years old at an airport our size.
60 and top 75 airport, yeah.
So this is an important piece. We can't add a hotel in the back when people ask. We can't increase our parking ramp size because that tower needs to look on the north field. So again, this relocation is vitally important, not just to the airport, to West Michigan. So again, I appreciate the airport, their staff, board members. I know everybody here is also advocating for that removal of the tower and the new move. So again, thank you to you and your staff for everything you do for West Michigan.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. I know this is a year out yet, but I'm wondering how much chaos you anticipate with the enhanced ID going into effect and whether you'll be doing, I easily can imagine when I see those signs that people might not be aware, might not, might show up and not be prepared to actually board. Will the airlines be taking on the bulk of that?
The airlines and the TSA, and there will be other alternatives. So we've seen that deadline move several times now. So this isn't the first time we're hearing of a deadline. They have gotten more people, compliant, but there's still some other challenges with some other states that have not, figured out their own state ID, driver's license, and other things to have that secure process. So we don't anticipate a lot of chaos for us. TSA tells us just anecdotally, seeing everybody coming through, that they're seeing most of them are compliant here in Michigan now. So I think for us, it's going to be pretty good. It might be somebody from another state who hasn't and are here and have a little bit of a challenge, go through additional screening, but doesn't mean you can't fly.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Commissioner Breevy.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank you for your presentation, and I have the honor of serving on the airport board. I really see the airport as the first impression on people visiting West Michigan. It's a beautiful place. If you haven't been there recently, I would encourage you to fly out sometime soon, go on vacation. But it's incredible, and I appreciate your leadership and the team that you have put together. We have a very strong group of leaders there, and I can only see good things coming down the pipeline, and you guys will continue to elevate the experience. So thanks for all you do, Tori.
Great. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? All right, if not, again, thank you, Tori, Dan, and your team for all the work you do for your presentation. I think that frequently we fail to appreciate how critical your work is to the overall economic vitality of this area. It's just essential, so thank you.
Hand in glove with all of you and the work you're doing, so thank you. We appreciate it.
Very good, thank you. All right, we'll move to our next item, which is public comment. This is our first opportunity for public comment. The first opportunity is for those items that are on the agenda only. So if you have a specific item that's on the agenda you wish to address, you may do so now. You have up to 3 minutes. Please identify the item you wish to address, your name, your address, and we will go from there.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, staff. My name is Daniel Scott, of course, longtime resident of the county, and my real identity is I'm a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. First of all, I wanted to thank Commissioner McLeod for that powerful invocation. By the way, your first name, Michelle, means who is like the Lord. And I agree 100% with your prayer and your intercession. I wish the city commission meetings, which I'm a regular at, would have such powerful invocations that I've experienced here over the years. I think there'd be less chaos and less insurrections that I've experienced there myself. I was also grateful for your emphasis on the most vulnerable, including the unborn. Chairman Steck, last time I was here, you acknowledged that I preached a 3-point sermon in less than 3 minutes. I only have a
Gonna beat
2-point.
that?
I only have a 2-point sermon, and I should be less than 2 minutes. I hate to be a killjoy after all this news we heard about the airport, and I'm addressing resolution number 51. But I did some research on the internet about this, and we're talking about a lot of money here, and if it's going to be funded, as I thought I read, by bonds, I'm not sure if that means tax bonds or whatever, but if it is, I oppose that. And if these are bonds acquiring through borrowing or credit, I would just warn you again, because the Holy Scriptures tell us plainly, owe no man nothing but love. Proverbs 22:7 says, the borrower becomes servant to the lender. And whoever this money might be being borrowed from, you become slaves immediately to that entity. It's a powerful and liberating truth to be able to live your life, conduct your family, conduct your business, conduct politics with a simply pay by cash. Do not borrow, pay by cash. If the Scripture says that's the way to go, it's possible. We live in a society today where we want quick money, and usually that means borrowing. And I don't know where this money's coming from, with our country being what, 35 trillion in debt? But just a few thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Agenda items only. Good morning.
How's everybody doing? I'm D. Jones. I'd like to speak on the airport, the Gerald R. Ford Airport. I want to say that I recently flew out of the Gerald R. Ford Airport to fly to Las Vegas as I won the International Visionaries Award for the esports competitions I do around Kent County. I really appreciated being able to fly out of the Gerald R. Ford Airport. It was very cool to be able to fly out of the airport. And I like the services. I like the hospitality. You guys have some good workers. It's a nice, clean airport. I'm very excited about the expansion of the airport. Very cool to see the potential and future art that local artists will be able to put at the airport. Hopefully we'll be able to get some esports at the airport too, as you guys know, and probably traveled across the country, seeing different esports labs at different airports. I think it'd be cool to have esports there at the Gerald R. Ford Airport, at the Presidential Airport. And it was really cool to be able to fly out of the Gerald R. Ford Airport to Las Vegas. It was a very good experience. I think you guys should be able to do cool things around Kent County so you guys can fly out to the Gerald R. Airport and be able to inspire the community. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, DeAndre. Anyone else? All right. If not, we'll move to the next item, which is our consent agenda, and I will call on Commissioner McLeod for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I move the consent agenda for today.
Support.
Thank you. Supported by Commissioner Coleman. Questions or comments on the motion? I see none. Madam Clerk, this is a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Vice Chair Green.
Yes.
Commissioners Antor.
Yes.
Merchant. DeBoer. Hildenbrand. Ponstein. Burl.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Breivy. Teal. Sparks. McLeod.
Yes.
Hennessy. Oliver King. LeGrand.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Wooden.
Yes.
Patcliff. Diaz. Bujak.
Yes.
Chair Stack.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to the resolutions for today, and I will start with 8A and call on Vice Chair Green.
Thank you, Chair. Mic is off. Thank you, Chair Steck. I move the adoption of Resolution 51 of today's date, Gerald R. Ford International Airport Authority Revenue Bonds, Series 24, from Fiscal Services.
Thank you. It is supported by Commissioner Brevy. And before I open it up, Administrator Vandenberg, do you have any comments on this one?
I do. I wanted to clarify that this is not a new issue. So the board has already approved the sale of bonds for the two projects at the airport, both baggage handling facility and the rental car facility. The Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act, also known as TEFRA, requires that a public hearing be held as part of the bond sale process, and that allows consideration for the bonds to be tax exempt. The bonds that have been sold so far did not meet the standard to be tax exempt, and the TEFRA hearing only lasts for, that approval only lasts for a year. So basically, this is coming back to the board to renew that so that the next project can be eligible for the tax exempt bonds. And so again, this is not another issue of another amount of money. It's simply meeting federal requirements so that tax exempt status can be achieved.
All right, thank you for that. Now, any questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Steck. So, being one of the commissioners that sit on the other committee, and I'm always told that the Finance Committee does the heavy lifting, with amounts of money that we're going to be approving or already have, it's, as one of those commissioners that seems to have sat forever on the legislative committee, we've got to start changing the way that information comes around. I mean, if someone on my committee has a question, to sort through that amongst the sorting through everything else and not having time to ask questions until the meeting is, something that we've got to look at as a committee as a whole, because it's not fair to the others that aren't sitting on the Finance Committee and that their residents aren't being representative with a voice when projects like this come aboard. So my first question is that, Al just brought up that the tax exempt status. So are these bonds tax exempt, or are they going to be taxable?
I think I'll ask the airport to respond to that.
Good morning, Tori. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you again, Chair. And Commissioner, as the Administrator mentioned, these are tax exempt. So this next issue, which we plan to release later this month, will be tax exempt, and it's for the terminal enhancement project. So it is eligible under that TEFRA requirement that the administrator spoke about. The Conrack facility was not. And when we held the initial TEFRA hearing, it was for both projects.
So what caught my eye on this little short paragraph explaining the expenditure of this money, I mean, it states there that this project did not meet or qualify for tax exempt status. Why would anything that, an airport isn't a private entity, it's not for profit, though we have revenues that come in, why wouldn't it have met the tax exempt status right off the bat?
There's different eligibility on it based on the funding and whether it's revenue producing for the airport. So there are many factors that go into that. I can't speak to the specifics of it, but generally, if it is going to be, for instance, like our parking garage, paid for with other fees for that, it's not going to be tax exempt.
Okay.
It's going to miss that tax exempt status.
Okay. So Al, then just a follow-up question with you. So with this being added to our debt load for our AAA bond rating, what is our capacity that's left? And what room is there for other projects, and how do we, as a board and a community, decide which projects are more important than others?
Well, we are at an extraordinarily low percentage of our debt capacity as Kent County. We did have that special subcommittee that the chair appointed and Matt chaired and dig really deeply into this. I guess at this point, I think we would get really, we wouldn't want to hit like $1 billion, but we're well short of that. And so, but we could go up to $10 billion. I mean, so Kent County has always been very conservative with issuance of debt. I think the other thing that came out as we did a huge amount of research before these bonds were sold is that there's not one case of an airport defaulting on debt ever. And so I think that, you know, the revenues are solid, and that's one of the things you need to prove before you sell debt is where the revenue is going to come to pay the debt. And so I think that we felt very strongly that this was a very solid investment and did not put us at risk. There isn't, I should say, there isn't a magic number at which you hit, but yes, we did identify a process to go through to where we could keep the board informed as we take on new debt. Again, we didn't go through this process right now because these decisions were made, and this is simply more of a technicality under the TEFRA Act. But we did come up with a template for discussing bond issuances with the board when those come up, to have those discussions with, in this case, with the airport debt. We did engage 2 different financial analysts to advise us on, you know, what are the risks, what could happen with the AAA rating as far as issuing this debt. And again, we left all that investigation without concern. Not only that, in fact, what we had done with a different exercise that we did looking at some of the other big community projects, amphitheater, soccer stadium, airport, keeping all that in mind, we had 2 different financial analysts look at the total, not only the projects that are on the books, but the ones that could happen. And it was determined that those projects could all be done without risking the county's AAA credit rating.
Okay, I mean, I'm not against it, but I didn't say it was risking the AAA, it's just questions that some commissioners never get to ask.
Sure.
Thank you. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to comment briefly just to clarify. So I'll be voting in favor of this, and yet I actually voted against the issuance of this set of bonds. Not to revisit that debate in depth, but I kind of risk averse on debt, and with the airport being at somewhere around $500 million in debt now, like that's kind of beyond my personal assessment of good risk. The flip side of that, as I commented on the time at the time, the airport of any organization I've seen as far as capital projects, our airport does a fantastic job, and so this really is just a technicality. The decision was made to move this forward. This is a technicality of helping effectively our potential borrowing costs and everything in the mix here. So I will be voting in favor of this because the decision to issue these bonds is long since passed, and this really is just a logistical item. And I'll just add that while it's true the state does allow us up to that 10% of SEV, like that's not our borrowing limit. Like we would lose our AAA bond rating well before we get to that. That's the limit where the state becomes the emergency manager of Kent County. So I want to be careful that we make sure we're not thinking that we have a long way to go, a lot of borrowing capacity for other projects, because that AAA limit, while there's not a hard and fast limit, is a much lower than the things are getting really bad, the state's coming in and being our fiscal manager. So with that, I will be voting for that. I just wanted to clarify that kind of oddity, but this is a good thing for the issuance of these bonds, and that decision has already been made in the past.
Commissioner Wooden.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I believe I recall previously voting for bonding before voting against it on another matter, and another commissioner bringing that up, so I feel your pain, Matt. But, I'll just underpin channeling my inner spirit of former Commissioner Roger Morgan that, of all the structured debt that we have backed, we've never once had to dip into our general fund to support debt service on these bonds, where we have for DeVos Place, we have for other ventures, and even through the depths of the recession. So I certainly see this as a worthwhile investment, and we'll continue to back it, voting for it first and continuing to vote for it.
All right, any other commissioners? All right, I don't see any. Just a couple of comments. I have heard the objections from time to time about doing this kind of bonding for these projects, but the fact is, it strikes me that by bonding, we are actually allocating the cost of these to the community as they consume this. And so it's a more equitable allocation of the cost than going back and saying at one time, everybody pays for it, whether you're ever going to use it or not. So I do think it has a strong equity component to how we fund for these projects. And then also thank you again to Commissioners Coleman and Green for bringing the issues up on how we continue to monitor that issue on whether we've extended ourselves too far in bonding so that we have an intentional examination of that when we do look at new bonding, which this is not, but appreciate you doing that. Anyone else? If not, this is a voice vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. It is approved. All right, let's move to the next item. I'll call on Commissioner McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 52 of today's date, the 2024 Equalization Report coming to us from the Equalization Department.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner Sparks. Questions or comments on this motion? I see none. We do this regularly, so I suspect any questions have been answered. So all those that support the motion, this is a voice vote. All those that support the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. It is approved. Oh, okay. Whether that was an audience participation exercise or a commissioner, same result. I determine it passed.
You only get one vote comment.
All right. We'll now move to the second opportunity for public comment. If there's anyone from the public that wishes to address the board with respect to matters that are generally within the jurisdiction of this board, you may do so at this moment. You may do so by identifying yourself as to your name, your address, and you have up to 3 minutes to do. Oh, I'm sorry. We did a card approach this time.
We did, Mr. Chair.
All right. So you have the sequence, and would you call out the individual who is going to speak first and then maybe identify the second person in line so that that person can be ready to go?
Certainly, Mr. Chair, I will. And please, again, forgive me if I mispronounce any last name. It might be the name, it might be the penmanship, or it might be me. So any combination of which. But first up, we have Dee Jones. And on deck, we have Josie Kornev.
How you doing, everybody?
Good morning.
I'm Dee Jones. I was here for executive committee. I've been here since like 7. I'm very dedicated to this craft that I'm doing. I wanted to show the whole board my International Visionaries Award that I won, because I didn't get to show the whole board. So this is the award that I won at the Caesars Palace this year. Speaking on game design, I spoke on a panel for game design at the Caesars Palace, and I won the International Visionaries Award. We're actually working on a video game also. And I'm just very excited to be able to hold this and show you guys this, because I've been coming here consistently, as you guys have been coming here consistently. And I've never been fake. I'm true to myself. I'm a very genuine, authentic person. And I'm just very glad to be able to show you guys this and be able to say that I brought a $100,000 esports finals to the DeVos Place. The tickets are now live. You can be able to buy the tickets on the DeVos Performance Hall site. And then also we're working on bringing a 7-figure esports competition here to in December, which will be the 5th largest global esports competition in United States history. I'm a black person doing this in Kent County. I'm gonna be the first to let you know. It's D. Jones bringing the chicken here. You feel me? It's D. Jones bringing a real chicken here. It's D. Jones, the black authentic leader that's never been fake and true to himself. I'm gonna keep letting y'all know I'm black, and this is the 2nd worst city for economic development, and I'm doing historical things. And I'm doing it ethically, and I'm doing it fair, and I'm doing it just. And I'm going to keep letting you know that I'm black. Y'all probably don't know, but I'm French. I'm Haitian. My dad is French. I'm Haitian. You don't know that. Y'all probably just think, oh, this is just a black guy. No, I'm Haitian. You didn't know that till today. But I'm just very excited to be able to let you guys know that, because I'm very excited about esports. I'm very passionate about the things that I'm doing. I'm happy to be able to truly bring economic development, economic growth. I'm going to be speaking to the Congresswoman's office. I actually got a letter from the Congresswoman. Show you guys the school letter I got from Congresswoman. For esports, the glasses. For esports, I got a letter from the Congresswoman, from the federal government, and then I'm speaking to the U.S. Senator's office next Tuesday. But I'm speaking to the Congresswoman's office Friday, this Friday. I'm already pushing forward for the 7-figure competition. I'm 10 times ahead of you guys. I remember you guys probably thought, oh, the ARPA project thing. No, I'm bringing bigger chicken than y'all probably even thought I would be able to do. And I'm going to have a large economic impact on my community. Nobody's going to little bro me. Nobody. I'm the big dog for real. I'm a big dog for real. I'm a natural born leader. I'm an alpha dog. You feel me? Put me on the field with the sheriffs. I'll be like the sheriff. You feel me? But thank you. I appreciate it, y'all.
Thank you, DeAndre.
Next up, we have Josie Kornev, and on deck, we have Gail Schuling.
Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Josie. I recognize the lengthy discussion and hard work that you have done on the distribution of ARPA funds. And so when I came across this article from the Detroit News, I thought I'd come in and just share a little thought. And that Section 8 people have lost their Section 8 funding for doing much less than what Christiana Grant has allegedly done. And so I'm just asking that you investigate this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Gail Schuling, and on deck, we have Cody Walker.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? I also saw that article in the Detroit News, and it is my belief that our county attorney should not be a political hack. She should not be a political operative. It's disgraceful, and she needs to be fired.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cody Walker, and on deck, we have Dan Slahutro.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Cody Walker. I am a public defender with the Kent County Office of the Defender, a nonprofit organization that has been in existence for the last 50 years, quietly working to defend the indigent members of the community in Kent County and in Grand Rapids. I joined the office in 2021 and have been working diligently in the city of Kentwood and out of the 63rd District Court at Knapp's Corners, and have recently moved into a felony docket working downtown here. I come to comment on the proposed proposal by Mr. Vandenberg and Kristen Holtz to give a county office which would take away a number of liberties and restrict the ability of and independence that we have as an office to work with our indigent clients. And I think this is no more apparent than in the mission statement, the proposed mission statement of the county office, the new county office, which begins as the mission of the county office of the public defender, that's the proposed office, is to defend and protect the rights, liberties, and dignity of those accused of crimes who cannot afford to retain counsel. We do so by providing constitutionally and statutorily mandated representation that is effective and inspired and compassionate. I'm here to tell you that that is the floor of what we do. That is the bottom bargain basement. That is the bare minimum of what is mandated. Our clients deserve better. They demand better than what is mandated. What we created and drafted as an office during our diversity, equity, and inclusion team meetings is more holistic, more client-centered. Kent County Office of the Defender is a nonprofit organization. That's who I work with currently. That is committed to the excellence in representation of the indigent, people charged with felonies and misdemeanors in Kent County. Our guiding principle in North Star being that the KCOD strives to foster a sense of community where all are equal and valued, and seen as holistically breaking down barriers of oppression. We are committed to serving the unseen in the community with a safe and welcoming, inclusive, and equitable environment so that justice so justice can be achieved for all. In short, our clients and the community at large deserve not the floor, and we do not drive for the floor at KCOD. We shoot for the stars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Dan Slohutro, and on deck, we have Bilal El-Rayed.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dan Zliutro. I'm an attorney at KCOD next door. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to serving clients at a public defender's office. Currently, KCOD's structure is one oriented around the representation of its clients. We have department heads which organize our attorneys, investigators, mitigation specialists, and support staff. These leaders report to our deputy and chief defender. This structure, which is complemented by an updated slate of policies, procedures, and updated board of directors, allows our attorneys to give individualized representation to each of our clients. Because we are organized as a client-centered office, if a client wants a trial, they get a trial. Our structure allows our attorneys and staff the required flexibility to be the voice our clients need us all to be. We provide consistent, exceptional representation explicitly because each of our staff is independently allowed to provide what the client needs and what the client wants. The county's plan puts the administrator over the attorney without giving any consideration to the client or their needs. The plan provides 73 seats, many of which are directed at the administration of resources, not the defense and enforcement of a client's constitutional rights. Under the county plan, the county can seek to assert their right to a jury trial, one of the core concepts adopted by the United States Constitution, but be denied that right because an administrator does not feel it is a prudent use of funds. A county public defender will not be permitted to pursue a case to the fullest extent because many added administrative layers strip away the urgency of each case. The client and their identity are stripped from the county-run case, and the client is served worse for it. This is by design and a fundamental part of the county's proposed structure. The Kent County Office of the Defender is in a great position to continue serving its clients and is committed to doing the work it has been doing for 5 decades. We have the structure and policies in place to serve our clients the way that they need. I ask that we be allowed to continue doing that work. Thank you for your time and attention this morning.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Bilal El-Rayed, and on deck, Desiree Benedict.
We may have someone who didn't, maybe in the hallway?
Or I really mispronounced the name.
It's not Mr. Smith, is it? Okay, let's move to the next one then.
Next up, we have Desiree Benedict, and on deck, we have Ida Nojani.
Good morning. My name is Desiree Benedict. I'm an attorney with the Kent County Office of the Defender. My entire job is, at least in part, speaking in front of other people and persuading them, but I do find myself quite nervous to present to you all today. And it's because of how passionate I feel about what I'm speaking to you all about this morning. Specifically, I wanted to touch on, while joining my colleagues in my office and their comments that they have made and will continue to make today, I do want to speak specifically on the timeline of the proposed office, its feasibility, and the impact that it'll have on the clients that we serve and our community at large. My understanding is that the timeline sort of starts with a nationwide search for a chief public defender beginning once this board approves, if it does approve, an office, which would be at the end of this month through mid-May. and that the office would be up and running, ready to take on the full extent of the indigent defense system here in Kent County by September 30th. I can say that the current landscape is a nationwide shortage of attorneys who want to work in the public sector for counties, but certainly for public defenders' offices as well. We've felt that in the recent years. The idea that we can ambitiously hire an entire office ignores the true restraints of the hiring shortage of public defenders and attorneys that are not only willing to serve the indigent community, but are equipped to do so, are passionate to do so, and are skilled enough to do so. The scarcity of public defenders across the country poses a formidable obstacle. These professionals are in high demand. Other states are poaching good public defenders. Other private attorneys are poaching good public defenders because it's difficult to represent people in criminal matters. Attracting top-tier clients requires a thorough and deliberate approach. An unnecessary expedited hiring process risks overlooking qualified candidates and settling for staff and leadership who lack experience, vision, and commitment that's necessary to lead an office and staff an office effectively. I didn't come prepared to note this, but I would feel like I missed an opportunity to note this board's support of the Airport Authority here in this very room this morning. Their move away from a public structure into their own autonomy, and the fact that this board noted the top-tier leadership and staff that the Airport Authority has because of that shift. And what this board is proposing doing would take that away from the Public Defender's Office, would take that away from the Kent County Office of the Defender, and impose a structure that would deprive Kent County of obtaining what I've known to be the most, what has set the bar for public defenders. The task of establishing, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ada Nojani, and on deck, Laura Joyce.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ida Nojani, and I am a member of the Kent County Public Defender's Office, as we refer to KCOD. And I'm here to answer a question as to why would the county courts want a county-run public defender's office? I'm going to read to you 2 paragraphs from the NAPD report that you are all relying on to making these decisions. Both attorneys and court staff reported that the courts sometimes bypass the defense to try to save time. Although, as is described below, cutting corners on initial proceedings can make case resolution ultimately take longer due to attorney reassignment. The 62A District Court, for example, reportedly frequently begins proceedings without defense counsel present. Courts will set a time limit for defense counsel to meet with clients before bail hearings and sentencing hearings, and if they have not finished advising their clients in this time, the court will begin the hearings without them. This is reportedly the practice for both public defenders and roster attorneys. So that's everyone that represents an indigent client, someone who is unable to afford an attorney in your community. Second paragraph. Some service providers also reported some pushback from the bench and court administrators with their advocacy. Interviews with judges and court administrators confirmed this perception. One administrator said, before the MIDC standards, things, end quote, ran smoother and people just pled guilty at their first appearance. Now things drag on. One judge said that while they appreciate the defense counsel's advocacy, they felt that some arguments weren't necessary and the defense counsel shouldn't be filing motions just to make arguments that aren't winnable. These sentiments reflect how zealous indigent defense advocacy is not yet fully accepted in the local court culture. And the county's response is to create a county-run public defender's office. The county courts are not ready for zealous advocacy, and a county-run office will create problems like I've experienced, where a judge out in Kentwood reached out to the county and told them that I should not be able to practice law there because I'm disruptive. The county employee said I shouldn't go out there. My boss of the nonprofit said, what are your reasons for that? What is your authority to say this attorney cannot be out there representing their clients? If I was a county employee, as I was a county employee in Ottawa County for that defender's office, those issues appeared. And my boss told me that it's not my job. It's not my job to advise my client of their rights in the county jail because I'm a county employee. It's not my job to make the county agencies better. If that is what this county is going to do, you are going to have to answer to a lot of citizens. Citizens who are going to have to stand next to a public defender that they know doesn't work for them. A public defender that works for the same county that pays those to cuff them, charge them, prosecute them, and cage them. That takes away a lot of perception of fairness in our courtrooms in this county. And the fact that the outside courts and the courts within the downtown core want a county-run office should make you concerned. It should make you concerned about the quality of representation that indigent individuals get in your community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laura Joyce, and on deck, we have Will Antonitis.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Laura Joyce, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Kent County Office of the Defender, and I'm a 37-year resident and constituent of Kent County. I'm here to talk about the honor of my life. The honor of my life is to call myself a public defender. The honor of my life is to work with the people that are sitting behind me, to people that are right now across the street doing the very job that the county wants us to reapply for. It is the honor of my life, though, to represent the members of my community who are facing tremendous loss at the hands of our government. And it is the honor of my life when I walk into those rooms with those clients. And they have to trust me with their story, with their trauma, with their family history. I meet these people on the worst days of their life, and they have to trust me immediately. So I can try to convince a judge not to cage them or a prosecutor to have leniency on them, and that trust has to be formed in a very small period of time. And one of the ways that we are able to do that right now is to say, I don't work for them. I don't work for the county that cages you and prosecutes you and fines you. I work for you. I have the independence and the necessary discretion to do what I need to do for your case, what you want me to do for your case. The county proposes that this will be, if this office is formed, that this will be the first county public defender's office free from political influence. And they say that because they're writing a mission statement that states it and makes it so. That's it. Because they still report to the county administrator under their plan. What you have right now is an independent office that is free from the vagaries of policy, politics, and political winds. You have a group of people that are committed, dedicated, passionate, and desire only to serve the people that need it most in our community. So when I walk into a room and I can say, I don't work for them, I work for you, it matters. Don't take that away from me. And most importantly, don't take that away from my clients. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Will Antonitis, and on deck, we have Dwayne Gritter.
Good morning, Will Antonitis. I'm
Good
a
morning.
resident of Cascade Township. I am currently a legal assistant with the Kent County Office of the Defender. When I joined this office 3 years ago, I never thought I'd end up in criminal law. When my former professor is here, when I took her class, I took it because I was supposed to take it in law school, not because I wanted to. 3 years later, I found myself with an opportunity to be a legal assistant with the Public Defender's Office. I took it because I had worked with some of these people before, and I knew the office's reputation in this community. When I do pass the bar exam, and I hope someday to do so, I want to practice in a public defense office. I want to practice in this public defense office because of the caliber of people that we have. The NAPD report that you have is honest with some of the problems that are with our office. I echo some of those issues. But as a contractor, we should have the opportunity to fix our internal issues, not just be bluntly terminated and then a new system put in its place. We have the opportunity and we have the momentum, and we are fixing the internal issues within our office. We're asking for more time to do that. We are a great office. If you read the NAPD report, it does not criticize the services that we provide. In fact, it flatters our services that we provide to our clients. It is our internal issues that were raised in that report. Give us the time to fix the issues. Let us continue to do the good work that we do. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Dwayne Gritter. On deck, Madison Fairchild.
I'm just going to
Good
change
morning.
it up a little bit. Good morning, Dwayne Gritter. It isn't often I get up here and only speak for a few seconds, but it's going to be very short. I'm just going to say to this commission, if you know, you know. And I believe many of you know what's going on here. What I'm going to ask you is to consider asking the commission to consider releasing any legal representatives who are not serving us well, and any of those who are about to embarrass you guys and this county.
Next, we have Madison Fairchild, and on deck, Lance Elliott Griffin.
Good morning.
Good morning, all. How's it going? My name is Madison. I'm a legal assistant as well with the Kent County Office of the Defender. Today, I want to talk to you about the roots of this organization, its mission, and the holistic approach this office has provided for over 50 years, and why it is important that you ensure that this organization continues its role in this community. Since 1974, twice my lifetime, 2 times my life, the stated purpose of KCOD has been to secure justice for and protect the rights of the residents of Kent County. When a member of our community is charged with a crime, their story is much more than was just alleged on the complaint. The Kent County Office of the Defender practices a holistic approach to indigent defense. A holistic approach includes a comprehensive strategy that goes beyond simply addressing the charges a person is faced with. It considers the whole person, their circumstances, their needs, their wants, the whole person. Other pillars of the holistic approach are client-centered advocacy, meaning our priority is to personalize the defense for each person's needs and goals in their life, addressing root causes of crime in the community behind every behavior that are underlying issues that have caused an alleged offense that can be supported, collaborating with community partners, those underlying issues such as substance abuse, economic hardship, mental health issues. Our organization has existing relationships with partners in the community to connect and support those who can benefit. The holistic model is widely accepted and regarded as best practice within the legal community because it provides comprehensive support in addressing root causes of crime and recidivism. KCOD's mission is to zealously defend the rights and liberties of our clients while prioritizing the needs and goals of each individual client, and we have been found successful in that mission. The NAPD report states, quote, "The office encourages a holistic and client-centered approach to their representation. Interviewees report that they feel KCOD has a group of excellent and passionate attorneys, investigators, and mitigation staff who care deeply about the mission," end quote. You have been presented with a proposal that does not include the word holistic or any word like it. No mention of centering clients or their needs or their circumstances. No talk of mitigating harm or addressing the root causes of crime in our community. You've heard words like efficiency and oversight and administration. That's what they think you want to hear, which is here's why this is palatable for Kent County, not why this is the best option for your constituents and the preservation of their rights and dignity. The proposed mission of the county office is to, quote, "provide constitutionally and statutorily mandated representation," end quote. That mission is the absolute bare minimum that your constituents deserve, and they deserve better than the bare minimum. If you were to ask me what is the defining part of KCOD and why it should remain the pillar of this community that it is, what I should say is how great the lawyers are. I apologize. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next, we have Lance Elliott Griffin, and on deck, Aaron Phillips.
Thank you.
Good morning.
I'm black, I am not Haitian, and I'm nowhere near as cool as that guy. There's a big scandal going on right now with this commission, this county. I hope that you take action, you take it seriously, and you do something about it. Some of you will be primaried if you don't. A Democrat representative, I believe, abused the ARPA funding process. And either this commission or the county council helped cover it up until now. The Detroit News released an article this week that kind of details and exposes it, and it's pretty embarrassing. And Senator Peters, United States Senator Peters, this week, coincidentally, recognized that there's so much fraud with ARPA all across the nation that he's introduced legislation to crack down on those who defrauded the taxpayers. And it's not even the taxpayers' money, it's China's money. We borrow money and then gave it away to people to help save their businesses. It's even worse than stealing from the taxpayers. We're supporting fraud on debt, on money that's not even ours. You need to do something. You need to probably fire the county council. And if you don't, you'll be embarrassed and you'll suffer the consequences.
Next, we have Aaron Phillips, and on deck, Clayton Prickett.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Erin Phillips, and I am a trial attorney with KCOD. I'm here to discuss the report that was authored by the NAPD. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the report. I know that the report is being used to close the nonprofit. So I want to discuss what is in the report and what the recommendation of the report is, because I don't really think that the use of the report is being really taken into account, because it's being used very piecemeal. First of all, the NAPD report does talk about how any transition to a unified system would require careful planning. Careful planning requires time. On an expedited timeline that we are currently being given, I don't believe that you can do what the NAPD report is asking to be done in the time frame that has been allotted or proposed. That being said, the NAPD report says that an oversight board should be established so that whatever office, a county-run office included, has independence, right, from the judiciary and from the county. There's been no mention of an oversight board. If we are going to take the recommendation of NAPD, we should take the recommendation of the procedure that they set forth in establishing a new model, whatever that model may be. That being said, upon the creation of an oversight board, the NAPD report indicates that that board, which includes many members of the community, including former clients, should then determine what model is best by looking at existing contracts and potential contracts that they could enter into. That oversight board would be responsible for deciding which model is best through careful review, and that takes time. That being said, the board should determine what portion of cases are handled by public defender, how to manage assigned counsel, and they should also be responsible for hiring a chief public defender, and the chief public defender, quote, in the months to follow, right, then sets forward bylaws and hires in new attorneys. Months. This is careful planning, and you can't do it under the current timeline that's been proposed. And I know that there are many issues with the timeline, but my issue is, if we're relying on this NAPD survey, if we're relying on it to close the nonprofit, why not rely on it to make sure that the procedure that's recommended is also followed? This is a piecemeal approach. You're willing to look at the nonprofit for the problems that we so honestly and so vulnerably told to the assessors who wrote this, in hopes that they would help us create a better, stronger nonprofit. And it's being used to close the nonprofit, and we have absolutely no procedure.
Next, we have Clayton Prickett. On deck, we have Christopher Denny. Okay, next we have Christopher Denny. On deck, we have Tanya Kraus-Phelan.
Good morning, Chair Steck, Commissioners. My name is Christopher Denny. I am the Executive Director of the Kent County Office of the Defender. Many of my staff is here today, and you've heard from them. I started in this office as a public defender and spent 13 years trying cases and being in the trenches. Then I was named one of the original regional managers with the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission, and my region included 14 counties Kent County was one of them, 14 counties and 19 funding units. And my job was to know the standards, was to know the act, know the reasoning behind the standards and what it took to comply and exceed the standards. That was my literal job. And my job was to educate and guide the people in my area to do this and do it successfully. And I learned a lot in this position. I learned what it really takes to be a successful public defender, the kind of people that it takes. And I learned how to carefully choose the right people to come in and to push. Their job is to push, and it's to prod, and it's to push back against the government. And that can only best be done if they are independent and have a degree of separation from that government that they were pushing against. And that is why you heard from a passionate group of people today that have come here and shown that support. And we give them that room to do what they need to do, and that is intentional, right? And so, of course, we have things to work on internally, and we work on them as we can. But we always push the product, which is serving our clients. That is our goal, and that is the main thing we always made sure that representation and serving our clients comes first. And that is why you hear from them today. What is being proposed is to house a new public defender office in a brand new wing of the mansion that is government. And what they want you to notice, and what nobody really understands, is they already have a home. They don't want some rooms in a mansion. They want a home. They have a home to stay in. They have a home that they can practice the way they want to. And if you think they don't bring this passion into my office every single day, if they don't think I've done something right, then I'm going to disavow you of that notion. And that's intentional too. I want them to do that. I want them to push me to be better so our office can be better, so that they can push back against the government and for their clients better. And that is the main goal and the main reason why we want to stay independent as a nonprofit organization. It is about serving our clients, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tanya Kraus-Phelan, and on deck, Kenneth Cortez.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tanya Kraus-Phelan, and I am a proud alum of the Kent County Office of the Defender. In 1989, as a newly minted lawyer, the director at the time, Dick Hillary, gave me my first job. I tried shoplifting cases all the way up to murder cases and won them frequently because I fought hard for my clients. And this was in a time when the county, in its tortured history with indigent defense in this county, didn't really like that style of representation. I left and went into private practice for the next 14 years, where I continued to specialize in criminal defense at the state and federal level, again, handling everything from shoplifting to murder. But I focused on indigent defense. Still, the county was not favorable to strong indigent defense. And so in 2005, when I had the opportunity to become a professor of criminal law and procedure, where I could hope to have an impact on those who wanted to be criminal defense lawyers, I became a professor. And I could not be more proud that some of my students caught the fire, and they are here, and they are representing your constituents on a daily basis with pride, with love, and with skill. Now, I didn't just end my time with the Kent County Defender's Office there. As a professor, I co-taught the Kent County Office of the Defender's Clinic. So many of my students had the opportunity to be under the tutelage of the lawyers in the Kent County Office of the Defender. And with that tutelage, they have become the strong advocates, many of whom you see here today. Now I am an associate dean as well as a professor at Cooley Law School. And in that capacity, I am responsible for administering and overseeing our school comply with the American Bar Association, the Higher Learning Commission, and because we have a campus in Tampa, the Florida Commission of Education as well. I have direct supervisory control over 5 direct reports, 10 more indirect reports, and have targeted supervisory authority over 52 faculty. On March 15th of this year, I was voted onto the board. March 15th. A few days later, the county unceremoniously went into the Kent County Office of the Defender and talked to them about the NADC report and told them that their contract would not be renewed and that they were moving for a county office. Now, I can't speak to what happened on the board of directors before I became involved just a short month ago. But in that time, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kenneth Cortez, and on deck, Cole Williams.
Good morning, everybody. My name
morning.
is Kenneth Cortez. I have been living in Grand Rapids for 22 years. I got moved here from Flint, where my father was an attorney. He worked as a defense attorney. He worked at UAW when I was born, transitioned to a defense attorney, and became a city prosecutor as well before we moved here. It's close to my heart that we're trying to replace what we have right now, which has been very successful. And when we're speaking about public defense, if we're ruled by the arbiters that are creating the laws, is that still public defense at that point? As someone who grew up in a troubled space as a teenager, being uprooted, being set here in a place where I didn't know anybody, finding the wrong friends, getting in trouble, I've been saved more times than I care to mention up here on this podium. And now as a community member who raises communities all across this city, I've spent the last 5 years of my life changing the hopes for people in the future. Young people don't have to go through those things. But if we casually allow, again, I've sat up here and I've listened, no oversight board, no advisory board, and potentially being ruled by the hands that feed us, that's tyranny. In the Constitution, it tells us as citizens that we have an obligation to revolt against tyranny. And we remember 2019. Everybody sitting up here on this board remembers 2019. It's still traumatic nightmares certain people have from 2019. We don't want that again. But I promise you that it will be there again. Me as a journalist, me as someone who documented everything, I literally was standing from here to where you are when that man got shot in the face. Traumatic experiences happen like that all over this country and all over the world. Grand Rapids, specifically Kent County, has done an amazing job of limiting those from what I've seen. And if we go forth and we let this happen, I guarantee that there's going to be a brink, there's going to be a tipping point. People are not going to be happy. And I'm going to have to put my camera back out. I'd be happy to do that, though. I promise that. All jokes aside, I just want to leave us with, it was the Sixth Amendment case, Gideon versus Wainwright. And the court held that the Sixth Amendment's guarantee of counsel is a fundamental right essential to fair trial and as such applies to the states through due process clause of the Fourth Amendment, or the 14th Amendment, excuse me. So everybody has the right to a fair trial. Again, is it going to be a fair trial if the arbiters of that trial control everything and control the process and are representing the people? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cole Williams, and on deck, Laura Skurbeck.
Good morning.
Good morning. So my name is Cole Williams, and I'm going to wear 2 hats today as I talk about the Kent County Office of Defender's Office. So I am the executive director of a nonprofit called the Delta Project that supports youth in this community that are involved in the juvenile justice system. I also am a father in this community. I moved here in 2008, and I have had the opportunity not only of raising my own sons, but some sons in the child welfare system, right? And I will be completely honest with you, this is my first time standing in this space. So to move me into this space as it relates to the work that I do serving and unpacking youth that are involved in our juvenile justice system is really important. So for me to stand in here is I am really, really concerned. So part of my work is to recognize that the kids that live in this community are suffering, right? And so one of the things that I love as a quote, it says, children that are not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth, right? And I say that because what I am seeing happening in this community is that we need the Public Defender's Office to continue to do the work that they have been doing. Here is why. Because again, what I see with our kids is that they don't always have access. And there was a word that I keep hearing used today and I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Is it indigent? Yes. So I had to look it up. And so I looked it up, and it says when they are impoverished or unable to afford the basic necessities of life. I need us to sit with that for a second. And I'm going to take my time to sit with that, because I think that we have to really begin to understand what we're talking about here. Now, when I think about our justice system, right, or our criminal justice system and our juvenile justice system, I also have to recognize the biases that come with that. And I need to know, based on the work that I do in providing not only young people, but men that I walk alongside, that I can refer them to a place that I know for a fact that they will be able to trust. I don't know about you, but it's hard to be in a relationship with someone you don't trust. It's even harder to be in a relationship with somebody when we know that the person on the opposite end is responsible for making sure that the things that you need in terms of your life's necessities, imagine your life's necessities being put on the platform, right? And I think that it's important to recognize that the people that live in this community, I am a voter, so I recognize the power of vote, and I recognize the importance of making sure that we are doing the work that really supports not only our young people, but our young men and women that live in this county. And not only that, when we talk about the disproportionate numbers of Black and brown people in this city, in this community, who find themselves involved in our juvenile justice and criminal justice system, that is exactly who we're talking about. So when we talk about defense, we need to have people that we can trust. We need to have people that we believe that will be able to do this work. And I want you to understand you are responsible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Laura Skurback, and on deck, Robert Womack.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Laura Skurback, and I am an intern at the Kent County Office of Defenders. I'm also a third-year law student at the Michigan State University College of Law. Before I even got into law school, I knew that I wanted to work in criminal justice. I have interned at a variety of different offices, from a private firm to a prosecutor's office. I've interned with a roster attorney, and perhaps most importantly, I have interned with a county-run public defender's office, which is considered one of the best in the state. My experiences at these offices led me to believe that public defense is disorganized and abysmal in terms of client care. That is before I came to the Kent County Office of Defenders. It is so easy to get burned out doing public defense, but everyone at this office cares. Everyone at this office is a zealous advocate for their clients. And everyone at this office has been so kind to me. And what has really stood out to me working at this office, as opposed to every other place that I've been trying to find my place in indigent defense, is that this office cares about training people. Everyone at this office has made time for me, and everyone at this office is here to make sure that I know what I'm doing when I get out there, and everyone at this office wants to help me. This office, to quote Desiree, who spoke earlier, has really set the bar for public defense, in my opinion. And this is an excellent office, and it's worth preserving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robert Womack. On deck, we have Daniel Scott.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, sir. Yes, on behalf of the Public Defender's Office and their funding, I would say instead of replacing their funding model, we should be replacing our legal counsel, Linda Howell here, who you are taking up for in the Detroit Free Press for gross negligence, and mistakes. Senator Gary Peters just introduced legislation to go after criminal activity in ARPA and COVID grants. So I am following the lead of my Democratic senator in Washington, D.C. But when he says we're going after those who took COVID funds, do we think it's only going to be one party and not our own party as Democrats? Do we think it's only going to be white people and not white people and black people and all of necessity? Greed does not discriminate, though people do. Dana Nessel just charged former State House Speaker Chatfield with embezzlement and fraud. This is what my Democratic Party does. And as a county commissioner that did vote on these ARPA funds and CARES Act funds, I will tell you what your job is because I sat there with you. Our job is to levy taxes. When we give out grants, our job is to have oversight that they are spent accurately and no straw businesses receive money. Why didn't our council do her job? Why did the council tell me we need her in Lansing when we all sat down and saw clear violations? We had the grant planner. There's a planner called Game Plan Lifestyle Planner, which is a book that says it sold $4,000 worth of copies over the 2 months and did $4,000 worth of events. It's in a 2-line item to receive $5,000. In front of you, what I've given you is where they incorporated with the state of Michigan on October 22nd, 2020, 9 months after 2019, when that business had to be a operable business that is licensed to the state, the county, federally before 2019. I won't go into the other evidence because I want to talk about our independent attorney had a conflict of interest, which is also in front of you. And I trust that law firm, but we said we can't even have an impropriety of conflict. On 3B, it says all information has to be accurate on our grant. All information, it doesn't say you could come back and say an attorney, an accountant made a mistake. When you sign something that one paper that says you made $205 the whole year and you present it to the government, and then you come back and say, I want some money, and say, no, I made $4,000 a month. Accounting error. Then you tell the Detroit News that found errors in you that it's a non-story. You're telling the Detroit News it's a non-story. Me and my lawyers will be back next week. My national attorneys will be forwarding to take this to the Department of Justice. My local attorneys will be back with me next week. I asked the commission to stand up and look at our counsel and review the investigation.
Thank you.
Next, we have Daniel Scott, and on deck is our last card, Valerie Foster.
Morning.
Good morning again. And what I have to share certainly impacts our county. I understand that many of you here are up for re-election. And if you are claiming or choosing to run for such an office, I'd plead with you not to align yourselves with the Baal Moloch party in Washington, Lansing, and this city. The Baal Moloch was a god, a worship of demons back in the scriptures. Demons don't die, they just move to later in human history. It's the offering of babies, living babies, to a god to appease them. That is my new title for the Democratic Party. I heard of one local Democrat politician, not anyone on this body, running for re-election recently, quote, I cannot run as pro-life if I want my party's support. I would say to him, would you rather have man's support or Almighty God's support? To use the slaughter of children to win an election, and I'm talking about Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, Communist, is demonic. It's demonic. This is what's happening now at 425 East Cherry. They just started what they call surgical abortions because of 320 East Fulton, by the grace of God, being shut down. And now they found someone to carry on this type of quote-unquote medical procedure at 425 East Cherry, commonly called Planned Parenthood, which I call Planned Genocide. Now, this is not derogatory to say this because these people have said this publicly. Just recently, Hillary Clinton said, saving babies from abortion is like soldiers raping women. President Biden, the fundamental right to allow women, as he calls it, to choose, is being ripped away. I propose to you, this is what's happening. They're being ripped away. These babies, alive, in the womb. In fact, Joe Biden now supports funding scientists that are using organs from murdered babies to create humanized mice. What should this remind you of? Adolf Hitler. Lastly, the Democratic Party now has total control in Lansing. Keep your eyes open. They're going to try to murder more babies.
Next, we have Valerie Foster. And Mr. Chair, that's the last card.
Okay. Thank you and good morning.
Hard act to follow. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the commission. Good morning. My name is Valerie Foster. I'm a former West Sider, and now I reside in Lowell. Go Red Arrows. This is not hyperbole, ladies and gentlemen. I've spent half of my full life, not working life, half of my full life working as a public defender at KCOD, KCOD. I started there on April 1st, 1994, relocating from the city of Detroit to Grand Rapids. Alita Bryant started 2 weeks before I did. For over 20 years, Ms. Bryant and I were the only two black attorneys representing KCOD until the hiring of Kellen Dotson in the mid-2010s. Another black attorney would follow us a few years later, but by 2021, both of those newer attorneys had left the defenders. Honorable Dotson has now an appointed judge at the 61st District Court. Honorable Bryant is, who left our office in 2023, is now the appointed judge in the Kent County Circuit Court. Unlike many in my office, I have never sought higher office or judgeship in this county. I never wanted to. I was in the Marine Corps in the 1980s. So I've always seen myself as a warrior, someone who fights on the field and in the trenches. This has always been how I approach my craft, my obligation to my clients. And it has been very rewarding. I've met some pretty amazing people over the years. Many have gone through the worst times of their lives who simply wanted a voice for them. I have been honored to be that voice, that champion, that warrior. KCOD currently has over 30 attorneys. 4 of us are people of color, only 2 of us are black. With the exception of one of our dedicated support staff here today, I am currently the longest serving employee and the longest serving attorney at KCOD. And I'm not gonna lie, the journey hasn't always been flawless, particularly in the last few years. But I'm still there, despite it all, because I'm a face for this community, our community. I love the work. I believe in the spirit of what KCOD has given to this community for 50 years. I was one of a group of dedicated colleagues who had recently worked diligently to implement core changes, policies, and procedures within KCOD. We partnered with diversity, equity, and inclusion experts because we believe in KCOD and its independent incarnation. I got married here. I raised 2 beautiful boys here. I'm from Detroit, but Kent County is my home. KCOD is my home. And all of us are proud of who we are and compassionate for who we serve. Honorable commissioners, I always tell my clients, and this is no lie either, consider your options wisely. I am respectfully asking this esteemed body to do the same. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is that the last on the list?
It is.
All right, last on the list, but anyone else wish to address the board? I see no, well, you can stand up to the podium if you wish to address this in public comment, and please identify yourself, and you have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Kathy Clark. I was born up the hill here. My parents were born up the hill here. I raised my kids in Kent County, and they raised their kids in Kent County. And I'm a retired Grand Rapids police officer. And Kent County has been my home and a part of who I am. And I love this community and this side of the state. And I think that the board has an opportunity to really rise in this time because it's facing a controversy in an era when throughout the whole country there is disrespect for government and there is resentment, and we are separating from government instead of supporting and being part of it and having it reflect who we are. And I thank you for listening, because I think at this time, if they hear in this controversy involving officials that eventually are using money that people have to pay, whether they're paying back the loan or their taxes, when they're struggling to feed their family and pay their property taxes and maintain a home. But if you're stepping up and saying, we will resolve this, we will hold people accountable, we will get to the facts, because I don't want to assume anything. We are all hearing things, but the public is hearing things. And I would see this time as a time when this board can show the community that they represent them, they take their office seriously, and they will find exactly what happened, and they will deal with it evenly and justly, both for the citizens and for the people involved. And I would really appreciate keeping the honor and respect that we all have for Kent County. It may be waning because of our climate and our culture, but I think you guys, I haven't paid much attention because I just always respected and expected that. So I thank you for listening, and I sure plan on counting on you guys just to maintain that respect of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? I don't see anyone else, so we will then move. Oh. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kenyatta McGill. I'm also a criminal defense attorney. Back in 2018, I was attending W.M. Cooley Law School, where I did do an internship at the Office of Defenders. While there, I definitely got a sense of unity there. There's not an attorney there that wasn't willing to help me as a law school student just with any legal issues, any questions I had. So being able just to sit in on this hearing, hearing everyone express their ideals and their genuine passion for public defense, which is not an easy task by far. I actually was at the Public Defender's Office in Muskegon County from 2020 into 2022. So that is definitely the trenches. Not every attorney is cut out. No amount of training, no amount of schooling can prepare you to do indigent defense and working with our clients on a day-to-day basis. You have to be passionate about it. As I look at this board, it seems like and it feels like most of you already made your decision up to go along with this plan. But I beg you, I request of you, just take your time. Really think outside the box. Use your common sense. There's something about this that doesn't feel right in the pit of your stomach. It feels off. We all know it feels off. And I understand you all have your directives, you all have your agendas, but sometimes there are things more important than that. This community is more important than that. The representation of indigent clients is more important than that. So that's my request. Really take your time with it. Sleep on it. If that feeling is still at the pit of your stomach come the time of voting, vote with that feeling. Something isn't right about this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, is there anyone else? All right. I still see no one else, so we will then move to our next item on the agenda, which is the administrator's report.
And I have nothing today.
Oh, thank you for that. We'll then move to reports from commissioners. Any reports from commissioners? Commissioner Merchant, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Grand Rapids Public Museum Foundation Board met yesterday. There are a lot of very exciting things happening at the museum. As you all are probably saw in the email we received, I think late last week, from Dale Robertson, the Public Museum was granted the reaccreditation by the American Alliance of Museums Alliance Accreditation Commission, quite a mouthful. The museum also presented on the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. There's been a lot of news surrounding this act recently. A lot of institutions are really far behind in compliance with this act. The Public Museum actually began their compliance extremely early, before the rules were even promulgated for this act. And they're working hand in hand with the tribal nations, and all of what the museum has had in the past from Michigan tribes has been repatriated back to them. And they are continuing to follow the process as required by the law for repatriation to tribal nations in other parts of the country. Another presentation was on the plans for the improvements and updates on the streets of Old Grand Rapids and the Native American exhibits. The Native American exhibits will close at the end of this calendar year, and they're undergoing a total renovation. The museum is working with the Michigan tribal nations, and they're actually taking the lead on this renovation. So what we see when it reopens will be from the voice of the Michigan tribal nations. This project is being funded mostly in part by the zoo and museum millage that passed by a vote of county residents back in 2016. And then finally, I always have to plug that if you haven't been to the Public Museum in a while, I suggest you go. It's a real treasure for Kent County. And as a reminder, it is free for all Kent County children that are 17 and under. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair Steck. Just a reminder, as the chair of the Kent County Fire Commission, our next meeting is tomorrow at the MSU Extension Office. And really important work we do, and a lot of people aren't necessarily even aware of this work, but it's really important. It saves a lot of money for all the participants across Kent County. And the public is welcome. We meet at the MSU Extension Office. Once again, it'll be 8:30 tomorrow morning if you'd like to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Other reports, Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you, Chair. The KCCA Governing Board met this week, and our very own Commissioner Baker was elected as Vice Chair for this year for that board. I wanted to let you all know that there is work ongoing to develop a lead abatement plan for the county. But in order for that plan to actually be implemented and to be successful, this board will need to allocate some funds, I believe, to that plan to make sure the work is able to continue. So I look forward to beginning those discussions with you all. And the next meeting for the Community Corrections Advisory Board will be happening next week. So I look forward to coming back and reporting on that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Anyone else on a report? Otherwise, I would just note for the record that we did receive the Friend of the Court Advisory Committee report, and it is accepted and received. So if you have further questions, follow up with me. All right. If no other reports, I will move to miscellaneous. Does any commissioner have a miscellaneous item? Commissioner Diaz.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to apologize for coming late or showing up late. I was following on the live stream, and I really do appreciate the amount of public comment that was given today. I think, as I've said in the past, it is my opinion that the amount of people that show up to give public comment at this time of day at these meetings is a reflection of the importance of the issue that they're here to speak about, and I'm looking forward to speaking or to learning more specifically about the KCOD plan. I was thinking about some of the public comment that was given today and some of the concerns that were expressed. And it really did hit me. It really did affect me, because a couple of years ago, I was one of those people who were experiencing, or who had essentially a situation where I was in need of defense. And while I had the funds to pay for my own defense, I couldn't imagine being in a situation where I had to rely on some random person showing up to educate me and to support me and defend me in that type of situation. I remember the moment that sticks out the most to me is the moment where the judge asked me essentially how I was pleading, and I had to look over to my defense attorney, even though we had already discussed what was going to happen and what I had to do. I looked over at my defense, and we didn't even exchange any words. I just gave her a look, we made eye contact, and I felt comfortable pleading the way that I did because I had that level of trust. And so while I have not made up my mind really one way or the other what I think about the plan for the KCOD, I really hope that our next session that we have coming up to give us the opportunity to ask questions and to learn more, we'll be able to address some of those concerns. Because I would really hate to see us make the wrong choice and to have our community be impacted by a wrong choice. So I look forward to learning more. I again thank the public for showing up, and yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Commissioner Intern.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I also wanted to thank everybody that spoke on several issues. Regarding the Office of the Defender, one of the presenters says that we are kind of reacting to directives, and with all due respect, I know personally I don't react to directives. I'm an independent thinker. I like taking the information that we're given. I tend to trust, but I also verify. So that's the part of the process I'm in right now. We need to make our decisions and vote based on our individual thought process on whether this is a good or bad, and never necessarily rely totally on input from one source, but look at the whole thing. And I'm looking forward to some more conversations with the Office of Defender so we can, in my mind, get things cleared up a little bit. And I appreciate all you folks for showing up. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Yes, Commissioner Merchant, I think. Did you defer? All right, Commissioner Hennessy.
Okay, forgive me if I'm repeating something that has been said already under we're on miscellaneous, right?
We are.
Okay, good. The city is sponsoring its Kids Speak conversation tomorrow, and this is where elected people are the listening panel for our youth and our community, and this year they're talking on Our City, Our Plan. And this is held annually, and they have people listening from the audience, and of course, those of us who are elected at various levels of government listening to what our young people have to say. The other thing that's happening on Saturday, and it's become much more than West Side right now, but we have the West Side cleanup, and it's really extended through large portions of the city and other communities where you've just focused on a Saturday to clean up, straighten up your city, and take pride in it. And then afterwards, there will be a great big picnic at the zoo. So I appreciate everybody participating. It'll be all over. Find a spot and pick up some garbage. It's time to get us down and dirty.
We're very clean on the west side, but it always helps. I think Commissioner Merchant.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I guess it's my day to speak today. I just want to thank everybody for coming in to share their concerns with a few of the issues that are currently before the board. I think a lot of you guys know me, that I am one of the commissioners that I like to blow up things behind the scenes and then address them, and then by the time it gets to the board, I don't like to speak a lot just because I prefer to work on issues. But I'm extremely frustrated right now with a lot of the information that's coming forward, and I'm really tired of just asking and begging for information as a commissioner and not getting it, and then finding things out through the media. Admittedly, I had surgery last Friday, so I'm still digesting a lot of the information that we started receiving regarding the ARPA grants awarded to State Representative Christian Grant. But I do have significant concerns surrounding this issue. I'm beyond frustrated that this board first learned of this issue, like I said, via news articles that just started coming out, especially when this inquiry arose in 2022 before I was even elected as a commissioner, and then the investigation was considered closed last May. We didn't know that. Additionally, I have concerns with how we are ensuring compliance for all the ARPA funds and grants that have been going out there. this just brings to light an issue to me that not just on this specific person with the 2 grants that they received, but how are we ensuring compliance on all the grants we received? If I'm not mistaken, that these small business grants were the largest portion of the ARPA funds that we voted, or that this commission voted on back in 2022. So it's a concern for me. And then also, I just like to say that I think that we deserve additional information on that compliance. And then I just really wanted to thank everybody for coming in to discuss the Office of the Public Defender. I'm really looking forward to the informational sessions that are upcoming regarding this proposed change. I think a lot of us actually haven't made our decisions on this issue, and that we need a lot more information in order to make sure that the issue going forward is being handled, and the people that need representation are receiving it, and are receiving it in the best way possible by the county, because we owe that to them. So thank you.
All right, I think Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I have to thank Carol Hennessy, Commissioner Hennessy, who first told me Kids Speak was a great event. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. This is my first one. But I just also wanted to put in a plug for the quadrant meetings. Commissioner Hennessy and Commissioner Steck and I were in Wyoming yesterday, and it's a great time to get updates from some of the staff that we really do not hear from on a regular basis at these meetings, and to hear what's going on a little bit more behind the scenes. Also, it was great to have a presentation from Wyoming and learn what they're doing, so you really will learn a lot about what's going on at the county if you go, and I urge you to make time for it. Thank you.
Vice Chair Green.
Thank you, Chair Steck. I wanted to express similar notions to what Commissioner Merchant said regarding the ARPA grant funding, especially. Similarly, I was out of the loop. My wife and I had our second child last week, and so we were in the hospital getting ready to leave, and found out this information about the situation with Representative Grant, and that in the news media, the same as a lot of the other folks in this room did. So I've expressed my concerns over that. Would like to get some more information on that. Those are significant allegations that have been made, and I want to get some clarification on that. So I appreciate those who have brought it up, and I share the frustration with that Commissioner Merchant expressed, that we as elected officials are not made aware of these situations ahead of time. I understand why folks come here and say you're covering something up, because you would assume that we would be informed, but we haven't been made aware on some of these issues. So I also wanted to express my gratitude for the folks that came from the Office of the Defender. I understand that this is an important issue that affects not only your lives, careers, but more importantly for your organization, the folks that you serve. So we want to make sure that we get the policy decision right. So I appreciate that. I'm sorry if I'm a little less than energetic today. Trying to work through lack of sleep with a newborn at home, but thank you.
All right, anyone else on a miscellaneous item? Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to thank everyone that came out today, and thank you, Commissioner Womack, for coming as well. I, too, have an issue trying to wrap my head around someone defending someone who is paid for, or I have problems wrapping my head around I have problems wrapping my head around how someone who is able to charge someone and incarcerate someone, how they still can also defend someone. The two still don't match up for me. So I have significant concerns about how it's being done. I have significant concerns about the time frame that I feel that may be too short. And we all know that there's a shortage of everyone everywhere. to work, so I don't know how we're going to staff this new organization. I don't know why we can't work with the organization that's currently there in place and help make them stronger, better, if they've been doing this for all of these years. I think we just really need to step back, and I thank you for the informational session that we did have, but there still are questions, and it still is not computing for me. So thank you for everyone that did come out today to share your concerns with us. I think it's important for us as commissioners to be able to hear all sides. So I would definitely agree with Commissioner Merchant. When you don't have all of the information, people assume that we as commissioners do have all the information, but we don't always have it. Definitely have great staff. Definitely we have a great leader who does care about our community. And I believe you try to make us aware of as much as you can. So I do appreciate you for that. And I appreciate our staff. There's a fine balance there somewhere that we need to have. So thank you.
All right, anyone else? Is that a pondering or is that your raising?
It's just a
pondering. Okay. Anyone else? All right, just a couple of things I have. First of all, speaking of information sessions, there is another information session once we get done here, scheduled at 9:30, 10:30, maybe 11:30, for the commissioners, a follow-up on the dual issues that we're looking at, including the indigent defense issues as well as the excise tax issues. So encourage you, if you've not gone to one, make sure you get to one either today or on Monday, or if you've gone to one yesterday, feel free to come back again and ask more questions. Secondly, before we come back together, we will be having a ribbon cutting for the Crisis Stabilization Unit, April 29, the culmination of years and years of work by many folks in this community, redesigning how we provide and respond to behavioral health crises in Kent County. There are lots of stages to that, but this is the linchpin. So encourage all of you to participate and be there if you can, and watch us as we go forward and redo this in a much more effective way. Just briefly, to the commissioners concerned about the Detroit News article, please reach out. We did send out a communication with some explanation. I will simply, first of all, call, this is not ARPA money, this is CARES money, so big difference, so make sure you get it right. This is CARES allocation that occurred back in 2020. The issues and the facts that are being raised now occurred quite some time ago. It did hit the news again, so we're more than prepared to sit down and explain how that happened. So reach out, call, see me, talk to me, whatever it is. Ellen, I'll be happy to respond to those. So with that, Commissioner McLeod, are you ready? I call on you for a resolution.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adjourn subject to the call of the chair to Thursday, May 2nd, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. for the next official meeting.
Support. All in favor say yes. Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all.